Welcome to this edition of the Mayor's Report for Dublin. I'm your host, Splen Splendorio. Joining me today is a very special guest, Councilmember Jean Josey, of where? Of course, from the city of Dublin. Welcome, Jean.
Hi, Splen. It's great to be here.
Hey, let's start the show with, I know you got some exciting news happening in Dublin. What do you want to share with our viewers?
We've always got exciting things happening in Dublin. Today I want to highlight that we are working on the community input for 2 new parks. You know, parks are we pride ourselves on having the crown jewel of parks in the Tri-Valley, and so in the Francis Ranch neighborhood, which is a new one in East Dublin, there's going to be 11 acres of new community parks split into 2 parcels, 2 5.5-acre parks, and so currently we're asking for the community's input on what they want in those neighborhood parks, and we're really looking for creative new things for our parks, and so we have a survey going around now, so I hope you'll put the link up. It's kind of a long link. It's www.surveymonkey.com/r/r Francis Ranch Parks. So I don't expect people to remember that, but we'll have that link up, and so that survey is open for a while, and then we'll also be out at community meetings, the farmers markets and things, asking people for input. And then there'll be a community meeting online on September 4th at 7 p.m. and they can go to our website to get registration link for that, to ask what people want in their new neighborhood parks. So we've got that going on. We've also got other input that we're asking residents for, and just trying to make sure that people are as informed as possible and that they're giving us information as well as the other way around. We've had 2 community meetings first week of August to let people know what's happening in the downtown. We're getting closer and closer to hopefully creating a downtown Dublin. And so the applicant will be coming before Council and Planning Commission soon with their proposal for a town square park, life science office building, about 275,000 square feet of new retail in that area, and of course homes there to make that area vital. So those meetings are happening and things are moving forward on that score as well. So we're trying to get as much community input on all of that as possible.
All right, so Jean, in case our viewers didn't catch the link, is there a place on the city website where they can find the survey
If they
link?
go to parks, but also Survey Monkey is where it is, but on our website, if they just type in Francis Ranch Park in the search bar, it'll come up for them.
Great. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
Well, let's talk, I want to talk about a project that your city council recently approved called the Fallon 580 project. I know there was a big component of a park or something like that. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit about this project and what it proposes? Yeah,
so it's a big parcel on the east side of town. It is off past Fallon. It's the beginning of the Dublin Boulevard Extension area, so Fallon East Economic Development Zone. It's almost 3 million square feet of commercial and office park is a big part of it, but it's 11 parcels in total, and it's got commercial. It's got about 275 homes, 238 homes just below Cottonwood Creek School. Additional park there that will butt up against the park that's with Cottonwood Creek School there, but it's the beginning of the Fallon East Economic Development Zone. So it will have about 40 acres of nature park, as well as that other community park there, and it is really the beginning of the revitalization of new commercial in Dublin. So it is the beginning of where the Dublin Boulevard extension will go through, eventually all the way to Livermore is the plan. And so it was just approved, and we're kind of excited about the possibilities of different types of commercial enterprise that we don't have now in Dublin. Hopefully R&D, biomed, green tech, those kinds of really good, high-paying jobs here in Dublin and diversifying our economic outlook here in Dublin.
All right, so it's a place to attract new businesses and hopefully for people to be employed there. What other kind of benefits do you want to tell our viewers about on this project?
The nature and open space is really cool. There's just a lot of protected open space there, but also nature park that will come there. And continuing the Dublin Boulevard extension, of course, is a priority for our council.
Let's talk about this nature park. I think that's maybe a little bit new for Dublin, or maybe other cities may have it.
It is.
But tell us a little bit of what a nature park is and how it might vary from a a park with a playground and grass fields, et cetera.
Correct. So it's less programmed. It has more trails. It's more wild land. We have a little bit of it in Dublin. We have Sunrise Park is a nature park, and so it's got some trails, some benches. It's a way to just hike, but it's very small, not very much acreage. This would be around 42 acres, I believe, and it will be, we'll have native trees and grasses and trails and hopefully eventually some exercise equipment along the trails, but just a way to have, residents of Dublin love walking, biking, exercising that way, and this just gives them a much wider space. So it's open space, but it's accessible open space. It's not just pretty to look at. You can actually be out in nature. We have a little bit of nature trail in Don Biddle Park. So a component of Don Biddle Park is nature park, as opposed to the playgrounds and the programmed space. So it's just a way to be out and enjoy the beautiful views and the open space hills that we have in Dublin.
So would they be paved trails, or just would they
Likely
be?
not. Likely the aggregate trails. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about some of the businesses you hope to attract. You mentioned a lot of technology and life science and green tech. Is there, I know we have that businesses now in the Tri-Valley.
We do.
Is the idea to try to encourage others to settle in Dublin?
It is. So we're looking to expand. That particular area is both office park and general commercial, and so we're looking for companies attracts right, synergistic uses. So we're looking for biomed and healthcare, but also research and development and green tech type jobs. And we have quite a lot of startups and AI and a lot of like genomics and biotech type research companies. This gives a much bigger footprint to work with, Innovation Tri-Valley and the companies that they work with, and Startup Tri-Valley, and those kinds of companies gives them a better place to be, a newer place to be.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the green tech. Maybe our viewers don't know what that is, and perhaps you can explain a little bit what that means.
So yeah, as the climate is evolving and jobs are evolving, we need solar and all of these newer technologies and things that will produce jobs into the future, and retraining folks to work in electric car technology and just all of those things, smart home and these things. There's a lot of startups in this space. AI, for example, is in that space, and we're trying to attract those companies to not be always in Sunnyvale, Cupertino, Mountain View, San Francisco. A lot of the workers live out here and they want to work out here as well, and of course there's a lot of workers that will eventually be coming into Dublin in the Tri-Valley on Valley Link, and this is very close to where Valley Link will land, both in the Isabel station and in the Dublin Pleasanton station, and this would be a great place for them to be able to work.
Okay, great. Now that seems really cool.
Really cool.
And I've heard some businesses more around the Livermore Airport using hydrogen.
Yes. So I don't know whether this particular parcel would be a great partner for. Certainly, there won't be a hydrogen station there, but companies that partner with making the parts. Gillig is right there in Livermore, and they're transitioning to making hydrogen buses, which is very exciting. But all of those EV cars need a lot of different components than internal combustion engine cars do, and so there are small companies that are filling specific niches on those kinds of things, and so those are all green tech jobs.
That sounds, I've heard about electric planes and hydrogen powered planes.
Yes.
Which seems very
cool. Which I'm really excited about, because we love Livermore Airport. It's a great neighbor, but there's a noise component to planes that are, particularly those that are teaching planes, right? Touch and goes, a lot of loops, low flight loops. Battery electric planes are quiet, hydrogen planes are quiet. So the faster those transitions happen, the better it is for our residents. And so, these are exciting times that we're living in.
Well, let's switch to another. And you mentioned Dublin Boulevard.
I did.
And your city council had a pretty contested hearing a few weeks ago. And you placed a measure on the ballot to allow the city council to consider pushing the Dublin city limit east in order to accommodate Dublin Boulevard extension. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about it, what happened, and what can they expect to see between now and November? Yeah,
so we did put a measure on the ballot that is consistent with the Open Space Initiative of 2014. That Open Space Initiative specifically contemplated putting something on the ballot this year. It dictated that we study the issue 10 years out from 2014, to see whether we needed to put initiative on the ballot to ask voters whether they want to expand the Dublin urban limit line to include that parcel. So it's a 180-acre parcel, and the ballot measure specifically says to allow, do the Dublin residents want us to incorporate that parcel into Dublin and study whether we want to allow commercial enterprise on up to 80 of those 180 acres. So 100 of those acres would always be no building on them, no construction on them, specifically with the intent to bring Dublin Boulevard extension to Livermore, which both cities have expressed their desire to do. The devil's always in the details. How much, where would those 80 acres allow construction? Nobody is looking to commercialize, completely build out on that parcel. What the intent is to get Dublin Boulevard extension through that parcel so that it can connect from Fallon Road to North Canyons Parkway, and allow some commercial similar to what's already there on the Livermore side, where the casino is, and some other small, low buildings along that roadway. The road is very important to Dublin's economic growth. It is how we activate the commercial on the Fallon 580 East project that we just approved. It helps with some safety, getting our firefighters to be able to serve our cities all the way through. But it also offers pedestrian and bike infrastructure. Right now it's very hard to bike from Dublin to Livermore. You had to drop down in Pleasanton, go across Stanley, all of those things. This would allow protected bike lanes on both sides of Dublin Boulevard, so separated from the roadway. It also has a Class 1 path to the north where you'd be able to walk to Livermore. It's only 1.5 miles, the road connection, the roadway alignment, so that's not very far. So people could, kids could get to Las Positas a whole lot easier. Biking from Dublin to Las Positas, the bus will be able to go a lot faster. We have a lot of people that ride the Wheels bus now from Dublin Pleasanton to Las Positas College. It's actually free for Las Positas students, so this makes it easier that way. It also allows for an emergency access, or like if there's a big accident on 580 and they have to shut down the highway, it is a regional route. It gets people off of 580. So getting the roadway through is important, but the devil's always in the details. Part of the controversy at our meeting was people think that we're trying to build into Doolin Canyon, and that is not the case. Doolin Canyon up above, part of this property and above it, is all protected open space. That's already been made as a species mitigation bank. There's no possibility of building north into Doolin Canyon, and so I think there's been some misinformation. There's been some fear-mongering a little bit that we're trying to densify that area and build, cover the hills. That's nobody's intent. I don't want to speak for everybody. Me personally, I very much want an open space buffer between the built environments on both sides. That view corridor is important. There's a very important creek that runs through that property, making sure that we protect some of that open space. So some of the information that's out about what we're trying to do is not quite accurate. I think that certainly on the Livermore side, they're a little worried. The residents are a little worried that we're trying to cover the hills there. That's certainly not the intention. The ballot measure does not authorize us to build anything. The ballot measure says, do you want us to study what should be done in order to get the roadway through? So that's kind of where we are. I think there was a lot of fear that we're trying to build up into Doolin Canyon, which is sort of a settled thing. Nobody wants to do that.
Okay, well, thank you for the explanation, and I'm sure this will come up in future mayor's reports, but I appreciate you, Jean, saying that and talking to us, but we're going to need to take a short break. We'll be right back of this edition of the Mayor's Report for Dublin. Welcome back to this edition of the Mayor's Report for Dublin. We are here talking with Councilmember Jean Josey from Dublin. Welcome back, Jean.
Thanks, great to be here.
Well, thank you for the first half of the show. We've got some really more fun stuff to talk about. And one thing that I'm sure is really important to you and a lot of residents of Dublin is the Dublin Climate Challenge. Tell our viewers about this online platform that is hopeful will help residents understand about the challenges of climate change and what they can do to help offset global warming.
Yeah, this is really new. Very exciting. It's dublinclimatechallenge.org. I want to make sure I get that right. dublinclimatechallenge.org. And people can log in, create an account, and see their own carbon footprint. and get tips on how they can make a difference. So this is part of our Climate Action Plan for 2030 and beyond, which we passed in 2020. It's trying to get us to carbon neutrality in the city of Dublin by 2045. And we can do a lot on the city level. We have done a lot at the city level, but we need residents to partner with us in making changes in their own life to reach carbon neutrality. And so the Climate Action Challenge gives people tips and concrete steps that they can take for energy usage, water usage, transportation changes, and waste stream changes. And what's interesting is that the partner that we're using does this in lots of cities, and so you can get tips on your own energy usage and things that you can do, whether you're a homeowner, a renter, everybody. You can compare your data to your neighbors. You can also compare the city of Dublin's data to other cities to see how we're doing, kind of add a little element of competition there to say, you know, how much better we're doing or not to other cities, and get resources from little things to big things on how you can make a difference personally in impacting the environment that we live in. Everything from obviously the little tiny things like LED light bulbs and things like that to great big things like how do you go about putting solar on your house, or if you want to get an electric car, can you put in an EV charging port at your own house, to tearing out your lawn and putting in drought tolerance, and you know, just all of those things. How do you find a carpool? How do you go about all of this things we want to do? 3-stream recycling, how do you sort things at your own house? What goes in what bin? Just all of those really cool things, and then you can see the data citywide, aggregated neighborhood by neighborhood, and then how do we compare globally?
So Jean, it tells you, you know, like for example, I know this is always something, especially when, you know, for a parent who's run a lot of errands, right? Combine errands into one trip, right?
Yep.
Does it tell you, like, hey, you know, instead of you going to the grocery store, going to the drugstore twice, try to that how much it really impacts the environment?
I will say I haven't been on it yet because it just launched. So that's, you know, on my list of things to do in the next couple days is really log in and delve into that data. But there's a lot of that kind of thing on there that gives you tips in all of these different categories. So again, transportation, energy usage, waste, and water, and gives you those kinds of really consolidated tips. So I'm assuming that that's there. Obviously, it makes perfect sense on how you can, you know, consolidate things. The fewer trips, the better in a car. Also, how you can find carpools, find people to carpool, where the transit is, where the bus routes are. It will have links to other things for, you know, not just tell you, hey, you should take the bus, but is there a bus that goes where you're trying to go, right? So all of those little things, you know, who the providers are, all of that really can help you with recycle, reuse, all of that.
Yeah, that's a nice guide, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a nice guide.
It really is exciting.
Well, let's talk about something I know is just, you know, I mean, it's really enjoyable when everybody has to drive, or more or less, and it's nice to see a little art where you least expect it, and that is the city has annually painted utility boxes or selected artists. Let's talk a little bit about that. We're in the process right now, selected some artists to give our viewers some insight into which artists were selected, where these utility boxes will be painted, and if our viewers want to go take a look and see the art, where will they find it? Yeah,
so we do a lot of public art in Dublin. Part of that is the utility box painting. We also paint stormwater drains as well, but 10 utility boxes a year. And we pay the artists. We use professional artists or students that are under the tutelage of a professional artist. In this 10, there's 2 students that have been selected, which is really cool. The 10 we're doing this year are, there's 4 on Doherty Road, couple on Central, couple on Tassajara, 2 on Dublin Boulevard. The theme this year, which is really cool, is called Out of This World. And we asked artists to really think creatively about what that theme meant. So it could be space, or it could be something that's just amazing, out of this world, you know, using that cliche to be, or that expression to mean amazing. And so there's quite a gamut of what those designs are. The 3 that are closest to Camp Parks on Doherty Boulevard showcase the history of Camp Parks, which is really cool. That's one we haven't really done before, but we love Camp Parks and the partnership that we have with Dublin. And so they have to be completed by September. The process for selecting artists is not in the council's hands, which is good, because while I love art, I don't have a background in art. I don't have an eye, really. And so our Heritage and Cultural Arts Commission goes through all the applications. I think we had 40-some applications for those 10, and they make their recommendations to City Council, and we usually accept their recommendations because, again, we're not artists ourselves. And so they'll be completed by September, and can't wait to see those spring up.
I can't wait either. Those seems like that's really exciting.
Yeah, they are fun. I get a big kick about of all the different ones. We have some bird ones. We have a lot that have shamrocks hidden in the design for Dublin. We have a lot that showcase the history of Dublin, and now maybe some of these the future of Dublin as well with the Out of This World theme.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, if we get back to that, what we first talked about, the green technology, right?
That's right.
Maybe they can envision something that the rest of us no way could envision, but they can be prescient and figure out this is going to happen in Dublin.
That's right.
That's really neat.
And if people would like to see the designs before the actual boxes come up, those designs are, of course, linked in our City Council agenda from our last meeting.
So let's change a little side. I mean, we're talking about painting, the future, and now we're talking about a little history here. And there's a big community garage sale, which when I mean history, of course, that means getting out with the old, right?
That's right.
Make room for the new. The city's going to host its first community garage sale.
We are.
Tell us why and how it's going to work.
I think it's a really cool idea. This was an idea of somebody in our Parks Department that came up with this idea. And we're always trying to do new things and engage the community in fun stuff. So on September 28th, it'll be at Dublin Sports Grounds in the parking lot there, and it's open to residents and non-residents alike. Residents can sign up through, everybody can sign up through the Dublin Rec Guide. It's $20 to host a booth, or $25 if you're not a Dublin resident. And it's strictly garage sale items. We're not allowing people to sell their brand new stuff. It's not a street fair. It's a garage sale, so no food, no new items, no craft sales. It's strictly garage sale. Completely open to the public. Anybody's welcome to come and browse and find new treasures, and we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be really fun. It's 8 to 1 on September 28th.
If I'm a buyer, does it cost me anything?
Nope.
Well, it costs me if I buy something.
Cost you, that's right. But the people that want to host just cost $20 to have their booth for Dublin residents, and they can sell all of the stuff that they've been trying to clean out for years out of their garage or wherever.
Okay, so this may be a little far afield, but I have to get my stuff there.
You do, yes. We are hosting the space and we are promoting it, but you are on your own to bring your change, bring your treasures, bring your display, get your things there, and then take your stuff back with you if it doesn't sell.
So I'm not going to say that I watch this on certain shows that find treasures at a garage sale.
There you go.
Any chance there should be any treasures to be found?
Yeah, there's always the chance, right? What I might find as something I'm trying to get rid of might be exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. I will tell you a story about that later. About something
Perfect.
Well, I thought was garbage and somebody actually treasured it.
There we go.
All right. So, well, we are at the stage of the show where we're going to talk about all the wonderful things that are upcoming in Dublin. So tell us what's going on in the city in the next few weeks.
We got Splatter coming up. That's always exciting.
Splatter's
one of my favorite events. It's the multicultural food, wine, and art festival. It's on the 14th of September coming up at Emer Glen Park again. It's going to have music and art and wine and food and activities for the kids. Admission is free. The carnival rides and some of the kids' activities have a small fee, but we have art from students. We have art to create. We have all kinds of food to taste, and of course we'll have Mustache Harbor is our finale band. They are 70s and 80s, and today music. It's a big dance party. We'll have a big drone show at the end, and then this year we have a VIP tasting experience called the Rose Pavilion that will have the Rose Lounge, that will pair locally sourced food bites with also local beer and wine. So tickets to that can be found on our website. I think it's through the Rec Guide as well, and it'll be right there in the middle where you can watch the concert, watch the drone show, get your food and wine pairings. On the Vine Catering is going to handle the food, and of course Dublin Rotary handles the wine and beer.
So Jean, timing, all day?
Noon to 8, I think.
All right,
and then, it's an afternoon and evening thing.
So the drone shows the finale.
Drone shows the finale. 200 drones will be there, and that'll be really exciting.
Really exciting.
Those drone shows are so much fun.
So if folks are new to our show, why is it called Splatter?
It's called Splatter because it's art and wine, and we don't want you to spill your wine, but we want you to make art. And so Splatter is about color. It's about explosion of taste. It's about all of the culture, and it's just splatter.
All right, so if our viewers want to hear more or learn more about Splatter,
Dublin website, Parks tab on the Dublin website.
You know, we've featured the Dublin Parks Department quite a bit today, haven't we?
They do some amazing things.
They do.
Yeah, lots of community outreach, lots of community engagement, lots of bringing people together.
All right. Thank you so much, Jean, for being here today and updating us. I'm Splen Spandorio. Join us for the next episode of the Mayor's Report of Dublin, right here on Tri-Valley TV. Thank you so much for watching.